So Danny, welcome to FrightFest. You're here with Blockhead, which is a film so good they're playing it twice. How are you feeling?
Yeah, what a pleasure to be here to represent this film I care so much about. You know, it's my first FrightFest and I'm just excited to see what it's all about and to be able to share our film here in Leicester Square. That's kind of a childhood ambition realised, to be honest. So.
And what was it about the character of Will Mercer that spoke to you? Because I imagine it's quite a challenging role.
I mean, maybe it doesn't bode well for me to say this, but when I read the script, I just saw myself there. I'm a songwriter, I'm not a novelist, but I understand the process of writing and how hard it can be when you can't write. And as someone, like we all have a relationship with anxiety and depression. You know, those things are prevalent in everyone. I could just see a way of getting inside of that role. And it's not often you read a character and you go, okay, I know how to do that. Which is kind of a messed up thing to say when you see what happens to this character. I knew a way in. So I just made sure that Matt knew when I met him that this is something I understand. You know?
And I mean, I'm hoping that, you know, if you get blocked as a songwriter, you kind of have a healthier way of getting unblocked.
Yeah, no, I haven't done anything too nefarious in order to write a song. Maybe when I was younger, but yeah, no one got hurt. I'll put it that way. You know, you can just and if nothing else works, you can play someone else's song. You can't write someone else's novel, I guess.
I think one thing that struck me is Will feels very much like a gothic literary character. You know, it's someone like a Dr. Frankenstein or a Dr. Jekyll whose mind is slowly unraveling. You know, were there any sort of performances that you looked to for inspiration for the role?
No, not performances necessarily. I take a lot of. Interestingly, I read a lot. So there's characters in books that make, I thought about Edgar Allan Poe with some of this stuff, and that kind of gothic, kind of open-eyed. Try not to. I can't really express it. There's something in that was interesting to me. Music. I use music a lot, so I had this huge playlist I assembled that would get me into where I felt like I needed to get to for the role. But yeah, and Matt sent me a few films to watch to kind of understand the feel and the energy of the piece. So that was there were a few things, but really I just used the script. I just read it and just let that open up to me.
And obviously, a big part of Will's journey is when he meets Mikey. How was Joe as a collaborator?
Well, you couldn't meet anyone further from the character they're playing. I mean, Joe is the most gregarious, loquacious, friendly, charming person you could ever meet. The polar opposite. I mean, Mikey is gregarious, so Joe brought his energy in that respect into it, but it was lovely. And playing this role was quite an intense, thing. So it was nice to have someone as light and chipper around to kind of counterbalance my wherever I was that day and what we were shooting. So he was a joy to work with, as were all the actors on this actually.
And how do you take him home at the end of the day, or were you able to get rid of him?
Yeah, not too much, but a little bit. It was a very intense shoot. Like, we did the whole thing in a few weeks, and so I would let him sit around a bit. I was staying on my own. I have a family. I stayed on my own throughout the shoot, so I can kind of keep a certain level of something going. But I'd always go for a drink and watch some TV. Like, I would let it go. I have a good wash of the face, get the blood out of my hair.
That's good. And I guess the final question, for those that can't be at FrightFest, why do you hope that they keep an eye out for Blockhead and watch it in the future?
I genuinely think that Blockhead is a really unique film. It's a psychological thriller about creativity and the darkest parts that we go to. And anyone who is interested in making film or writing or in acting or in music or anything will see themselves reflected in these characters, where we have to go in order to create something that someone might just watch and enjoy in over an hour and a half. But the toll that we put ourselves through to tell these stories. So it's a story about storytelling, and it's funny and it's quick. It happens really fast. and I hope people like it. You know, I haven't really seen it yet, so I'm speaking purely on experiential levels. But yeah, I can't wait to actually probably witness the thing today.
Well, thank you so much for your time. I'm going to let you go and watch it.